Seat podcast. And in this week's episode, I will be talking about something different going into pop culture and basically one of my favorite video games now turned to a TV show, and that is called With the Last of Us, and being able to talk about episode one that happened last night, which was on HBO Max, and being able to talk about a little bit both about the video game and as well the very first episode, and give my overall thoughts how I felt about the episode itself. So, getting right down into the first episode and basically followed the game. The only thing that was really different in the beginning is with being able to see more about how the virus happened. Uh, with Sarah, especially with Joel's daughter, uh, being able to see how her day was before everything went to hell, and being able to see how uh, people began to change and things like that. We did get to see a little bit of the neighbors too, as well, because in the game they were able to actually show more of having Sarah be woken up and wondering what Joe was. He was basically dealing with Tommy at the time, so we were able to see him in this episode as well, which is really cool. So to be able to uh, have that transpire. And then there was also dealing with Joe's birthday at the time, so we were able to see how Sarah was able to get the watch for her dad and everything, and to see how things went about with that. Um, After a while, of course, Tommy got into trouble, and then he was able to try and get Joe to bail him out and everything. So that's when he left, and then things basically hit the fan there, and being able to see things change. We saw a little bit how um, they were able to basically turn and everything, and how they mimic things with one of the neighbors and everything when they turn. So uh, Joel and as well over time, and they were able to get Sarah back, and being able to make sure things don't happen for them on their side and everything. So I, I noticed too, like with Easter eggs, they showed like the guitar and stuff. That was really cool. Just little details like that from the game were able to be in the TV series as well. The other thing that was different was the timeline. The timeline was more when the game came out. Now the TV series is able to have the timeline be in present time, so in 2023. So that didn't really bother me too much and everything. I won't get into like the casting. It was really well done. Definitely for sure with Bella Ramsey and as well Pedro Pascal on this one, just to name a few who will be able to be a part of the TV series, and it was just very well done for sure. The infection basically itself is basically a fungal infection basically, which basically keeps the host alive and transform the body, so they were able to have different um, like creatures and zombies dealing with clickers, bloaters, and other stuff. So we didn't get to see the clickers really far too much, but we just saw people begin to like transform and everything. Uh, After a while, we did get to see Sarah being able to unfortunately die in this episode, much like the game, which was definitely hard to actually get through. Um, we eventually get to see Marlene, and we were able to see the person that was actually able to play her in the game actually be there in the actual TV show. So that was really awesome to see that. I really enjoyed that. Seeing Ellie as well be brought to life, which is really cool. Just to see her reactions and how she acted and everything, which was really awesome. So, without giving far too much away and being able to deal with things, I actually really enjoyed it. It was like playing a video game, like when I first played it in the PlayStation 3 days. So that was really cool to actually have that come about. So there is definitely going to be more for like the next 8 weeks, I believe. So I'll be looking to review other ones, just trying something new, trying something different. and we'll see if there's a season 2. I'm sure talking about the part 2 of The Last of Us. I would like to see that, and I know the part 3 of the video game is looking to be coming out really soon. I'm sure that's going to be exciting on its own. So it's just basically surreal to actually see this actually be a TV show. So just in shock and all of that. So those are my thoughts. Briefly, I'm still trying to get used to doing something different like with TV show reviews. So I just wanted to briefly touch it more bases on it a little bit as much as I could without giving far too much away. But definitely highly recommend it, especially if you play the video game, that you basically know what you're going to be expecting. And even though I knew what was most likely going to happen, I was still really excited to actually see how things transpired. So it was really cool to see that for sure. So I'm curious to see what the second episode is going to be getting into, most likely for the last behind part that definitely for sure. So anyway, those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts? Leave it in the comment section down below. For YouTube, leave a like, hit this notification bell, subscribe as always, and I appreciate the support, especially if you're listening or watching. Either way, until then, catch you next time for the next episode of the In the Hot Seat podcast.